Good day, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Splints and Whiskey. Splints and Whiskey is the podcast that calls on first responders and military medicine and all of those who serve the public and serve basically the nation. It's become a global podcast, and we are so thankful to our listeners. And today, I could not be more excited to have this guest on my show. He's my new dear friend, and I'm going to introduce him in just a second. But before I do, I want to thank our sponsors. Our sponsors are our sponsor is Life Autonomous Care Consultants. Life Autonomous Care Consultants sells gear to tactical training and trauma training, medical simulation gear, all the way from hemostatic gauze to high fidelity mannequins, to the Department of Defense, to law enforcement, to first responders, paramedics, EMS, and even medical students in universities. So thank you so much to LACC. If you'd like to find the triad of where that company is and our family of believers, because we really are truly a family who is big time big in pre-hospital training and military medicine, then you're going to find it under www.thelizarts.com. That way you can find Splints and Whiskey, LACC, where you can buy the gear, and then the Liz Arts Foundation, where gear is donated or training is donated to those who can't afford it. So, anyway, with that being said, thank you to the sponsors. Now, after that shameless plug that felt very, very long, I want to introduce the team to the body believers, to my dear friend Monty Bynum. And Monty, I know that you are I'm gonna have you introduce yourself, but you are a different breed, my friend.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for
Did
that.
you
Like
like that play on words?
that. I like that. I like
Uh,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're a different breed. And I know that I want you to introduce the ADB ecosystem. So
I
tell
think
me about
I like where
yourself.
you were going with it better. Like the family. I think I like that better. You were about to say the ADB family. I think I like that better. Thank you, Liz. Thank you so much. I'm deeply honored. I've been looking at what you've been doing, over the last couple months, and I'm super impressed. I can't believe I actually made it to the big leagues. Thank you, Liz. That's awesome. Yeah, so Monty Bynum, 32 years in public service. I was a cop, then went to the Marine Corps, got commissioned, and back to being a cop again. And the whole time, I've always owned businesses, everything from a party bus to a restaurant to real estate to coaching, now to apparel to another coaching company, training company. Yeah, so that is a little bit about me right now. Currently, what we are most focused on is ADB training,
Yeah.
adversary training. That's our main thrust. We have 72 instructors, some of the best when it comes to law enforcement training. And so my focus after 32 years, after 25 years in law enforcement, is to bring the very best training to these guys and gals out there that absolutely need it and are hungry for it. What we've seen, Liz, over
Yeah,
the last year,
they are hungry for it.
they
I'm
are
sorry I'm
so hungry.
interrupting. They are
Yeah, yeah.
hungry for it.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and they want to perform at an elite level. It's just it's hard to get this, and sometimes some of these agencies really want to give them the top tier training, but they can't really afford it. So that leads me to the next thing that we established, which was and what we're currently working on is our foundation. It's Police Training and Support Foundation, and that is where we're actually raising money for training and equipment that they absolutely need. And a lot of people are not aware of that in this day and age. Still, there are agencies that don't provide bulletproof vests, which is crazy to
Right.
me. Yeah. So that's in a nutshell. We have 5 other companies that are all in this ADB ecosystem. We have what we call ADB Nation. It's a vetted community where cops are able to jump in there and just let down their hair. They don't have to feel like pressure about anything. They can say what they want to. They can connect with our instructors. They can connect with subject matter experts. They can connect with folks like you to get in there and talk to them, have webinars, whatever. We get to love on them. We do a ton of giveaways, everything from protein shakers to pistols to rifles. We just have fun in there, and that's somewhere where they feel protected and safe. We also,
They feel part of the brotherhood.
exactly. That is a big, that you just said it, right? That's the biggest thing that we hear, is I miss the community. I look for the community. That's the one thing. So that's what we did. We really brought a safe place, truly a safe place where they get to be loved on and have that connection. It's pretty cool when
Yeah.
you see people from Texas and Georgia and Florida and California, Arizona, Montana, and they're getting together and they're the camaraderie and they're sharing the good, the bad, the ugly, from investigations to family life to religion to all of that, and they're in there. It's so cool, and it's my honor to be a small part of that and just connect these amazing individuals, because nothing bothers me more than people on the outside just use these guys and gals as punching bags and nobody is doing anything about it. Me
Yeah, no
personally,
kidding.
yeah, I don't, that's like, it is super abusive. You say like, hey, I got your back, brother, but then you let these guys get beat up emotionally. No, we gotta show more leadership and say, no, we can't. I appreciate you might be disagreeing with them, but we don't get to abuse the people that actually grab a badge, a gun, and a flashlight and go in at night and leave their families and protect us. That's probably that's a bridge too far.
I appreciate you saying that. I just interviewed a cop, a CPD cop,
Nice.
very tenured,
Well, tell
and
everybody what CPD, what you mean. Because some people are like, oh, Cleveland, or do you mean Chicago?
Chicago,
Chicago.
Chicago. And he's like, here's the deal. He's like, if you're not going to leave your battle buddy, we say battle buddy in the DoD,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he's like,
yeah,
if you're not going to leave your brother and your sister in the street, because you
yeah.
never would, right? I mean, the minute that no matter what happens, you're going to make sure that you're going to protect your buddy, right? He goes, then why in the hell would you leave him in the locker room? Why would you leave him in the locker room? That's the time when you might need to be with your brother and sister, like to your right or to your left, and make sure they're okay. And that's kind of what your community is able to do, is to be able to collaborate about everything you've seen
Yeah.
and done and all that.
Also, it's leadership. We kind of talked about this before, right? So, um, that's my responsibility as your coworker, as your subordinate, as your superior. We're supposed to be, connected as a team, and we don't really foster that. We have fostered, it's a job. Now in the military and Marine Corps, completely complete opposite. We fostered leadership from day one all the way up to general,
Hmm.
and everybody was responsible for each other. And we taught each other to take care of each other and know that, Liz, if you were under me, if you were one of my subordinates, if you failed to do your job, guess whose fault that is? That's mine. Because I failed to instruct you, I failed to give you anything. I failed to make sure that you were crystal clear as to what to do, how to do it, and if you needed anything. But what we do on the outside is, oh, yeah, things failed. Yeah, that was Liz. That's Liz's fault. We have no
Yeah.
problem. We see it all the time. It's very rare. It blows cops' mind when they see a, a police officer, a police chief, stand up and protect their people and say no, push back and do the right thing and be a leader. It blows their mind because they're so not used to it.
I'll tell you this, it's so funny you said that. I interview a lot of people from the DoD, every branch, and
Yeah,
every single branch, you know how each branch has their own pat on the back, like I'm the best branch or whatever, for whatever reason, but you all have
yeah.
your own unique characteristics, I guess. So, but what any interview I've been on, what they talk a lot about, whether it's a Joe or a sailor or now guardians, but or an airman, they all say we should do it like the Marines do it,
Yeah.
in the sense of how you take care of your battle buddy and
Right.
how you take care of each other. Like that is an elite skill that you've learned that I think is really cool that you brought into your organization.
Yeah, I love that you said that you exactly said it right. I hope everybody's hearing her again. I would, and if you missed it, rewind back. What she is exactly right. It is an elite skill, meaning it is learned. Because look, let's face it, people, we are selfish by design, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so that's a skill to put Liz's welfare ahead of mine.
Hmm.
But that is the master key that the Marines realize: team mindset and making sure it is mission focused. That I got to be worried about Liz. It is my responsibility. I don't get to walk away and say, "Hey, it's not a team sport." Oh, it absolutely is. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That was awesome.
yeah. I hear it. I interviewed guys that one retired in 2009, one retired in 2005 seconds ago, and then one retired, and I think it was something like 96,
Mm,
and all of them were FMF IDCs,
mm.
or not ICs. They were hospital corpsmen,
Yeah,
um, and each of them said that when they were at Greenside, it
yeah.
was a different thing.
See, okay, all right. You're talking. By the way, for some of the listeners, she's throwing out a lot of acronyms that I know what she's talking about.
Yeah,
But she's going
I'm
to tell me
glad
what.
you're gonna thank you, because
Yeah,
usually
yeah,
I'm the one who's like, "What
yeah.
does that mean?" Okay,
Right.
yeah.
So she's going to explain to you people what that means. What is the FMF, and tell our listeners what that means.
So
Yeah,
if you, so I think it's funny because we have a lot of lay people listeners too.
yeah.
So
I know.
I mean,
I,
people
I
like,
saw that. Yeah, people.
yeah,
It's popular.
yeah, yeah. So we have a lot of lay people listeners too. So a lot of people don't understand that the Marines don't have doctors, or they don't have medical professionals
Right.
in the Marines. The Navy is their doctor. The Navy is their medical squad,
Right.
right? So when, like, a bad example, but an example, it's bad because it was catastrophic, was when we lost 13 when we left Afghanistan,
Yeah.
12 Marines, and one was a hospital corpsman, and he was in the Navy,
Right.
right? So everybody has a doc that so the medical squad for the Marines is the United States Navy. So they're like partners. So FMF means what? Fleet Marine Forces.
You got to look
And
at that. I love it.
yeah, so that means that, and we call that green side. That means that the Navy sailors, they're not really sailing. They're on the ground with the Marines. They're the 13th.
Yeah.
So in a band, when you've got five people in a band, the
Yeah.
sixth guy who carries all your shit, he's your groupie, right?
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
the guy who carries all your shit. Well, you call him the six man, right?
No, I
So
didn't know
the
that. Look at
well,
that.
I play music, so
Yeah.
um, so you had a six man, right? So like your 13th man is your doc,
Yeah.
but he's the one who's going to be out there saving your life. But you'd save his too. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys know how to wrap yourselves up too,
Yeah.
but you trust your doc, and that guy's a Navy corpsman.
Yeah.
And then the other Navy people that are blue side, they're sailors and they're on the water,
Yeah.
and they're on hospital ships in the fleet
Yeah.
ships. So that's what I meant when I said that. Was that a good description for you
It's
there, boss?
perfect. I love it. Love it.
Thank
Now
you.
everybody's like, man, they feel they're into this now. They're really into.
Yeah,
They
we're
get
like,
it.
woo! Yeah.
Exactly.
But if I
Awesome.
say FMF, it's because you're a Marine, and I was saying that um the Navy, especially those who are FMF, they have more of a loyalty. I I don't want to say more of a loyalty, because that would be judgmental, everybody has loyalty to their branch and to their service and to their squad, but they have a different mindset that they've gotten from the Marines.
Yeah,
And so they're devil dogs, right?
that's right.
That's what they call themselves, devil dogs.
Yeah,
And they once they go greenside, it's really hard for them
it
to
is.
leave, is it? They get
Yeah,
stuck
yeah,
because they love serving with y'all on the ground.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So tell me about what started this for you. What you've been an entrepreneur obviously
Yeah,
for a long time.
yeah.
With all your different businesses, I'd like to know more about the party bus, but we don't have enough time for that. But what started this mission of of what you're doing now with ADB?
Yeah. So, um, I've always been blessed to work with some really, really, fantastic, departments. Um, I grew up in Delaware, and yeah, at one point I worked for my home county. When I got hired back then, my academy class, there were 40 of us. Well, everybody except one person all had a degree, and that one person was going to finish up, their degree, a couple months after they graduated from academy. So it was very competitive, a great organization. And that's what I was kind of used to. I just assumed, silly me, I just assumed that was kind of the standard everywhere. And as
Right.
it progressed, as I came, back off of military, back into civilian life, I was very fortunate to land into Georgia, and they do an amazing job statewide. They really, really, promote, education, professionalism, and really push each other. At least in the Atlanta, I shouldn't say at least, throughout the whole entire state. And I was very
Yeah,
fortunate to
Georgia
work.
has a high reputation for
They
law
do. They really
enforcement.
do. They
Yeah.
really do. I mean, and they push each other. They
I think it's
cooperate.
top 5%.
I
I've done
yeah,
the stats. Yeah.
100%. And so the agencies that I work for, I was fortunate to work with um, several agencies in the suburbs of Atlanta. They were really, really, well put together. They trained their people well. So I just assumed that's how everybody was doing it. Several years ago, some friends came to me and said, "Hey, would you consider, starting a training company?" So we did some analysis and looked at everything, looked at the landscape, and and did that. As we went across the country, we started to learn that the standards are really wild. They're up and down, and that there was a big need. And so it's a little crazy. And now it kind of makes sense why we do have some of the issues that we do. It's my theory. It's my hypothesis. Is a lot of people will scream racism. It's not. It's training. It's a training gap, and that's really where it comes from. We have some amazing people that get attracted to this community, and it is not that we don't attract racist people. We just don't. You wouldn't fit in this industry.
Oh my God. I know. I know. Th- I, I
But it's
know.
an easy excuse, and it's a powerful, club that you can hit people over. And it always cracks me up because look, I'm half white, half black, and so depending upon how the wind blows, let's be honest, Liz, I'm gonna tell you right now, depending on how the wind blows, I may be white today, I may be black today. So I'm
Wait,
just
are
gonna
you Halle Berry? Are you Halle
listen,
Berry?
I'm better than that. I'm better. Look at that. Look at that. I'm better than that. So you know, but
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 you were
seriously,
so crazy about it. It's like I'm more mixed than you. So like
you
that's what
also
I think
right.
is so crazy,
That's
right?
weird because I was just thinking, yes, this woman is more mixed than me. Okay.
Well, no, I mean, I just, I speak 8 languages. I've traveled the world. I've
Yeah.
studied abroad in many
Yeah. Yeah.
places, right?
Yeah.
And so I laugh when someone acts like America's not the melting pot of mixed people. So why do we act like black and brown? And I'm a big advocate for Latinos
Mhm.
because I was a Spanish major and I do a lot of ministry
Yeah.
with a group that does um, what they say is, and this is off, I mean, I'm sorry, this is so off the topic, but it matters for the mixed conversation or for the cultural
Yeah.
conversation. Black and brown, we should
Yeah.
say, communities, right? Or white, depending on what you want to choose that day, right? Um, so I work with an organization where their mantra is we do Martin Luther King's march with Billy Graham's message and for Latinos
Hmm.
because Latinos have the worst stats now, with like graduation, teen pregnancy, blah blah blah, all this stuff. And
Yeah.
this was pre lately,
Hmm.
of what's going on with like ICE and getting people out of here and immigration and all that stuff. This has just been going on for, like people have been calling us a Mexica for a long time, instead of America. And so, but like what happened in the 60s with African Americans is happening now with Latinos. So, or whatever you want to call them, I certainly wouldn't call them aliens. And there's there's 252 Spanish speaking countries. So, you can't uh, y- you can't be like, oh,
Yeah.
that.
I'm, here's my opinion on all that. Like, um, I am
And it's
absolutely,
so off topic. I'm sorry, that would just
no, no,
went
no.
a
I'm
little.
please believe, please believe I absolutely am cool with everybody coming here. Here's one thing I need as a law enforcement. I need to know who you are, but we also need to be, build an apparatus quickly so people can come in and be here, be documented. I mean, really, and I don't need any gates. I just need, documentation.
Oh, and
I also,
my biggest, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but my biggest Latino pastors that are Mexican or El Salvadoreño or Puerto Rican are like, they're like, make sure, like they are so behind this administration closing these borders.
right.
And
Well, again, it's not just closing the borders, but also here's the thing. I want people that are here documented because here's what's happening. And it is a dirty little secret that no one wants to say. It's not right that we bring people in or let them in. And if I don't know if you remember, again, it was groups of people that were actually saying that it was wrong that we were rounding them up, not because whatever. It was because who was going to pick the crops, who were going to do these things, who essentially were going to be our indentured servants or slaves. This is bullshit. These are some of the
yeah,
hardest working people in the world, and they should be documented, okay, so that they, again, they'll be taxed just like everybody else, okay, and they don't have to live in the shadows. That's bullshit. They need to be able to be here, and so we can take care of them, and they don't have to live in the shadows. But there are a group of people that want to, use this whole thing to keep them in the shadows so they can have cheap labor. That's not us, okay? And so
no.
we do things half-assed, and
We're a
I
land of entrepreneurship.
absolutely
We're a land of people who broke away. Our
sure,
history is that we
sure,
broke away so that
yeah.
we could, come and we are a land of opportunity. And
And
these
kind
guys come
of
here.
law and order, but again, right now,
Yeah, if they
this
if
last,
they get if they get documented, if they get the I-10, they don't need a social security number, they need an I-10. If they
yeah,
get that I-10 number, then they're paying taxes.
right, right.
And
Exactly.
it's
So
yeah.
we're a land of law and order, but the last couple of years we have been very flexible about that, and that's not good. That's not good for anybody. And we're playing politics with that instead of, again, it's not a matter of brown, black, white. It's not. I mean, the crazy thing is, again, BLM. Of course, all lives matter. All lives absolutely matter, and we should be, again, we are a stronger nation that is a confident and comfortable population. But there are some that would, have others be separate and be scared and demonize. Hey, well, it's the white person's, fault, or it's the other Latinos, or it's the other. Just what, because I can say, well, it's Liz's fault. Don't get around her. It's her fault. We keep away from them. instead
Well,
of keep.
yeah, and that's what's cool about this platform, but that's what's cool about just being when I say worldly, I don't worldly means two things. I mean, worldly could be worldly in the negative sense that you're worldly like watching TMZ every day. Not that one. I mean worldly in the sense that you understand the world and you understand and you study, right?
Right.
So, like let's say the latter, that it's important to uh, to know what you're talking about if you're going to talk. And so if you're not going to, like, please don't comment on something if you don't know the whole scoop. Like what I've loved about being in my job now is that I talk to you, I talk to people on the streets, EMS, paramedics, law enforcement, like you guys, first responders on the street. And then I talk to guys that are literally like down under and can't tell me anything, but yet I'm sending like a bunch of IFACs to places that individual first aid kits to a bunch of places where none of us may even know that there's special mission going on, and then something happens, and you're like, wowzers, right?
Hmm.
So I get to speak to these people. I'm so blessed and lucky, but it's opened my eyes to all this stuff.
Yeah.
So when I hear someone just say they repeat something that they've heard off of TV,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, you have no idea
Right.
what
Right.
is really happening,
Right.
because it's not being covered. And I'm
Yeah.
not dogging the media.
Yeah.
I I could
I will. I
I
mean,
could
I will. And again, here's
feel
because
free. Like I could give a shit
there's a
about the
narrative and
media,
there's again
honestly.
there's a narrative and there's motivation. Again, let people think for themselves, but give unfiltered information. Nobody had a problem with asking some questions about all of this, and then we don't ask any questions. We don't question anything. We just go along like sheep. That's super dangerous. And then we get hostile to people questioning the narrative. We've proven over the last 2 years pretty starkly that we can't really trust the media, everything that's being put out, and sometimes even parts of government. Even though most of my life, I was definitely part of government. I am disappointed in our leadership. I'm
Mm,
disappointed, not overall, not just
I am
anybody in
too.
particular.
Me
I like
too. Not
overall,
one
we could do a hell of
branch
a
or
lot. Many of these politicians aren't concerned. Take what's happening. You brought up Chicago. Take what's happening in Chicago, where right now and for the last 3 years, there have been 500 people killed every year. Now, if I was the mayor and I really was mission focused on, keeping my people safe, I don't care who comes to help. I don't care if it's the Girl Scouts. I don't care if it's Canadians. I don't care if it's
yeah.
whoever, but please come help because, my mission, regardless, is to protect my people. But that tells you something about leadership. It's not. It's not about doing what's right. It's about them. We wouldn't have this nuts saying, well, because you're not a certain political party, even though you're coming to help or whatever, we're not going to let that happen.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's terrible. That's selfish. That is horrible for his people in
Oh,
Chicago.
it's true. Yeah, I know I'm embarrassed for Chicago. I've run the Chicago Marathon, I think 7 times. It was my favorite city in the whole country.
Really?
Probably in the whole world. Yeah.
Wow. Really?
And yeah, and and I am so sad about the state of where it is. And when I look at it, uh, I'm mortified.
Yeah.
More than that, more than that, I think about just like the overall just back and forth, like, see, we weren't going to get into politics, but the back and forth, just you know blame these guys, blame these guys, blame these guys, blame these guys. I'll tell
Yeah.
you this, I got screwed over in a business deal like a mother effer recently. I mean,
Mm.
I'm talking bad, right? Well, I had to pay for this product that was a piece of shit that I got sold,
Hmm.
but then I had sold it to other people. I had to reimburse them. So I had to double it,
Yeah.
right? And you know why I did? Because I own my company
Yeah.
and I'm the mayor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, right?
Yeah. The buck
So
stops
I
with
did
you.
it because
100%.
that's what you're supposed to do,
Yeah.
you know? And and then I pray every night that it works out, and it will, because I did the right thing.
Yeah.
But but and I'm not like, woe is me, or I'm so great. I don't mean that. I'm just saying leadership is leadership. Like, are we really gonna act like the whole world can't tell um that we just had a complete massacre in Chicago?
Right.
And
Right.
that was just one of the things this week in that
Right.
place.
Right.
And then we're gonna have someone tell us that everything's okay. Like, come on, you
Right.
know? So anyway, I mean, we don't have to go much further on that. That was a long time on Chi-Town, but I love that place, so I can't help it. So sorry. Um, all right, so moving forward, what is, you've got, I love your website. I want people to follow you. I know that they already do. But I'd like to tell listeners that if you want to learn more from Monty or get involved in any of his businesses, then reach out to either him. Your stuff's going to be in the feed, of course,
Yeah.
and then or to me, and
Yeah.
I'll connect you. Also, my 501c3 matches with yours. It's
Yeah.
um it's training and it's training gear,
Yeah.
you know. And so I'm so stoked that we're going to partner together on that.
Yeah.
Whatever I can do to help,
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Um but lastly, if you could give, because we're coming up on time, if you could give kind of a last minute uh kind of a thought to leave the listeners with. It could be, don't chew gum and walk at the same time, or it could be something a little bit more powerful. But, something that
Yeah.
you'd like to leave them with, and then we'll roll out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the biggest thing is, the biggest thing really is to have faith and remember that, life is a team sport. And sometimes where we have all this negativity, getting spilled into us, we have a tendency to turtle and be like, I can't take it. I can't take it. Um,
That's a good word.
yeah. And so it's incumbent upon each of us to really lean into our faith and whatever that is for you and how that appears. But again, for me as a Christian, that means I don't get to be, a wallflower. I have to go out and offer some sort of goodness to people and part of the word, right? Part of people understanding that they are loved, that they are precious, that they are there is a better way. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
it, that doesn't mean everything's going to be sunshine and roses the next day, but um, we keep faith, we keep focus, and we do work and support each other. I think a lot of times we are so busy building literal and figurative walls that I need to understand Liz better. Where's she coming from? She's an artist. Maybe I can learn from her. Maybe I get this. Look, for me, it's pretty easy. I'm not a genius. I'm not the smartest person in the room generally. So I want to learn from everyone, understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Again, if we could lean in to the other way, I think for the last couple of years, we've been encouraged to lean into fear, anger, and how we're so different and so upset and like it, that as opposed to let's try to lean into being positive, lean into faith in each other, lean into the best qualities of what it means to be a human. And here's the real kicker for us, for those that are Americans and American citizens, however that happened, you have hit the lottery. Okay. Yes, there are things that we can improve upon.
What a
Absolutely.
great reminder. Yes.
If you've ever traveled, I know you have, Liz, overseas. It's very quickly you're reminded, holy crap. Of course, there's things that we can improve upon, but we live in the best country ever, because we have the opportunity to improve things and the opportunity to discuss and say, you know what, this is how I feel. And some people don't realize this, but that is quickly going away. In England, you don't get to say whatever you want now. You don't get that. That's crazy. That's not a country that we would ever think, but we have that, still that freedom. It is a beautiful thing. Sometimes it may make your blood boil, but we have our freedom and we have each other and we are Americans. Let's lean into that for a little bit. Let's come back to that. Let's come back to what it means to be Americans. And, so that is my,
Love it.
yeah.
I love it. Lean into it. I love it. Um, Monty, you are a different breed. And I love, I love the name of your company.
Yeah.
I love your mission. I love the family that you built.
Thank you.
Um, ecosystem,
Thanks.
pretty awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
You got to
so,
decide what you're going to change it. You could call it a family system. You could like
that's right.
mix
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah.
And but I love what you're doing, and I cannot thank you enough. I'm honored to be on this call with you today.
Well, thank you, Liz, and I'm so honored that I'm going to be working with you. You're going to be helping me with the podcast, and when that comes out, so that's pretty exciting. I would love for you to come on
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
yeah, we didn't get too wild. I think I think I would love to push it up. I'm always like trying to push the envelope. I think next time we need to be super wild, super in everybody's face. So next time.
Okay. If you ask all the listeners, then or anybody who knows me, they'll be like, "Hell yeah, let her loose, let the lion out of the cage." So don't
Yeah,
worry, honey, I'll be there.
good,
But
good.
yeah, I love it. But today was awesome. It was a great intro, and I'd love to have you on a panel. Let me stick with me while I say goodbye to listeners. Listeners, thank you so much for listening today to Monty and just for being a part of the conversation. If you want to be and get involved in his organization, it's called A Different Breed, and it's ADB
We have
dot
we have adbtraining.com.
adbtrain.com.
Training.com. Yep. And then we'll put in the show notes the foundation and police training and support foundation. We'll have the website and everything else where you can come find us out and
That'd be
ADB.
perfect.
Yeah. So
Perfect. So, guys, you can go directly to Monty, or you can always come to me, Liz at thelizarts.com, or you can just go into Splints and Whiskey and send a message, and it comes to me and my team. So, Monty, I can't thank you enough.
thank you, man.
Listeners, we look forward to seeing you guys next week. This is going to come on Monday after Thanksgiving. So I hope that everybody had a happy Thanksgiving and that they stayed safe on Black Friday, where I'll be hiding and and eating turkey sandwiches. But um, but listen, Monty, God bless. It
God
was
bless you.
so
Thank you.
awesome hanging with you, man. So
Thanks.
awesome. Stick with me for a second. And Splints and Whiskey's crew, we'll see you next week. Thanks and have an awesome, awesome holiday season. We'll talk to you soon.